Thank you so much for tuning in to Awakening with Katina Love. We are a conscious talk show to learn about self empowerment, the law of attraction, creating financial abundance, and natural health. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Awakening with Katina Love. Our special guest today is mental coach Malcolm Hendricks. Today we're going to talk about the art of communication. Welcome, Malcolm. How are you?
Hello, Katina. I'm back again. Loved the last show we had, and I'm great today, too.
Yes,
And how are you?
I am doing well. I am doing well. Yes, it is exciting to have you back on the show as a returning guest. We had a previous show about the art of self-discovery, and it was very amazing. It was quite profound. I actually learned a lot from that conversation with you on that show. So thank you and welcome again.
Oh, thank you. What's unique about the show, from my point of view, it's just very naturally engaging our reality, as opposed to fabricating conversations and content. So I enjoyed it as well, and I enjoyed your enthusiasm and energy.
Yes, beautiful. So talk to us about what you do as a mental coach.
I coach the mental aspect, whether it's in sport, business, or personally, and I coach it for optimal performance. For instance, your thinking processes, you never take time to engage your thinking. When you learn something or when you do something, you're simply doing it because of habits that's been reinforced, and habits are encouraged or rather formed by it's called myelin. When you do something, you form a habit, and when you do the wrong behaviors, you're creating bad habits. And all of those track to the brain, because the body does what the brain tells it to do. And so I coach the mental aspect, one, to unravel the thinking, to correct thinking processes for optimal performance, whether it's in business, sport, or personal.
Beautiful. That's awesome. So we're going to talk about communication today. What is communication? How do you define it?
My definition of communication is based on what I've discovered of me and how it is I enjoy communicating. And the older I'm getting, the more I'm realizing how poorly we communicate and how disconnected we are, and also understanding why. I'm also getting to appreciate how very complex I am, and that I really, really engage all of me. Right into my feelings, but also knowing how complex communication is, that we have one chance to connect with someone, but generally we communicate to disconnect or create disconnects in our communication because we're not received, understood, or engaged as intended. And so my idea of communication is simply to engage someone who's capable of receiving all of us, enjoying what they receive, and then responding to enhance what it is we express. How to do all of that is just one big puzzle that needs to be put together to accomplish that.
Right. I'm just processing what you just said. Can you expound a little more on the receiving part of communication? Like when we communicate, are you speaking of like speaking to someone or telling someone an idea, or what do you mean by not being received? Like,
let's use you and I.
yes.
So I might be talking, and let's say you're incapable of receiving as I express.
Okay.
I will be talking way beyond you.
Right.
That my words will be going out there and returning to me void, in a sense, as opposed to being received by you. You're creating a connection with that, and then you're responding out of what you receive. So if you are not capable of receiving me at the depth and the degree to which I engage,
yes,
what am I connecting with?
I get
What's
that.
what's in it for me in engaging you,
I
right?
totally get that.
And so the communication then follows from that, where I'm expressing, you receive me. I'm expressing without considering how you're going to respond. And I have to be true to myself. Then you receive me as I'm expressing. You then respond to that. By the time you've responded and I've received your response, I then defer to you where you express and I return the courtesy. And that is what creates communication. The dance in communication is the ebb and flow and being received. And if two people do not receive each other, we simply are crisscrossing in our communication. And I often use the story. It's like going to a movie theater and there's a double feature, right? And it's a PG-13. And for the one half, they show Amadeus, and the other half, they're showing Karate Kid. And it's like, I'm communicating Amadeus to you, and you listening, you're receiving me as Karate Kid, because that's how you're listening to what I'm saying.
Got
so
it.
we totally miss communicating, and our receptors are totally off in relation to receiving one another. So we're formulating different mental images or whatever it is, which totally creates a disconnect.
Could that be that the person in that situation, the person you're communicating with, is not capable of receiving you? Could it be that...
It could also be, yes. It could also be that I'm not expressing myself properly for that person to receive me. So if you want to understand me, the basis to understanding isn't you having to interpret what I'm saying, is me expressing myself so very clearly that you understand emphatically what it is I'm saying. And if I'm not able to do that, that creates miscommunication as well.
Okay, so here's another point I want to make.
Yes.
With my experience and with my learning. We're all vibration and energy, and we're all on different frequencies. Like the radio, you turn the dial on 92.7 FM or 107.9. There are different frequencies, right? And so if I'm on one frequency that's higher than another person, then they're not going to fully receive me. They're incapable of doing that.
Right.
So who are we communicating with? That's the question. Like, who are we? Yes.
We are, if that's what you're saying, we're not communicating with anyone. Our words are just floating out there. What happens after a while, if it's really on both parties. So if I am true to myself and I can sense my energy, if I know my energy is not being received by you, not my words, my energy attached to my words, if it's not received by you, that first of all creates a disconnect. If there's no energy that you are receiving and it's simply my words I'm expressing and it's bouncing off your head because you're not internalizing it, that also creates the disconnect. So communication is about communicating your words, your energy, your meanings, your reasons, your feelings all at once, so that when it's said, there's no doubt in what it is you're saying, and you can receive me in that to the full degree of what I've expressed, if that's how I'm expressing. However, if I'm sensing that you're not capable and I'm only giving you my words would be bouncing off your head without it being received, let alone my energy and my frequencies that I'm sending your way. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does. So can we talk a little more about the different types of communication and different forms? Because we communicate in so many different ways.
Sure. So a key starting point to communication is engaging by virtue of your senses, right? Watching the nonverbal cues. I could say something. If we're in person, I could say something, and I could see a quiver in your in your throat, or a tear in your eye, or your cheeks going flush. Those are all nonverbal cues that shows of your responses to what I'm saying. If I do not engage that, I could be missing on the most important cues to engaging you in responding. And what's been most uncanny for the last while, I've been coaching, when I've been coaching people, and or even talking in my other business realms, people have been crying. And I've always been looking for the tears, and I've simply been naturally engaging them. And I'm like, what's going on over here? I've been trying to understand. And if I'm not being in tune to the shift, even in the pupil, in the eyes, glistening or watering, I could be stopping someone else from having a huge release of energy if I don't encourage it, not by asking, but by simply drawing it out of them and engaging it by virtue of the power of the spoken word. So the one is a nonverbal cue you want to be aware of. Then it's your words that you how it is, with tone, with energy, and with meaning, that someone wants to receive you. And it's not often that we are heard. Many times I find myself shutting my hearing off, because I don't want to hear people, because what they're saying doesn't engage me at the level I want to, I enjoy engaging at, So all of that constitutes communication. Your nonverbal cues, your words, your inner world, your energies, energy in particular. And we do not understand energy, because it's by virtue of energy to your words that we create inspiration, and we create a desire for people to want to listen to us, as opposed to it just being words, because people feel us by virtue of our energy that we impart in.
Absolutely, in our tone as well, yes.
Oh, yes.
So I'm just thinking, I'm just kind of processing what you just said again. I think we have to be, and speaking from my own experience, I think we have to be selective and in tune and intuitive about who to communicate with and when. So I'll just use myself for an example. Just say, for instance, I have something to verbally communicate to a family member. Just say a family member that in my household. So what I do before I speak to them, I kind of feel their energy, like what space they're in. You see what I mean? Like you were talking earlier,
that's one aspect.
Is it going to benefit you from communicating with this person at this time?
Right. So can you just hold that? So that's one aspect. I'm going to add a second, and then you go into your next. So I'll respond to what you're saying by adding. So that's one aspect. How is it going to be a benefit? But then you're also premeditating, also thinking, how are they going to receive you? So that already puts you on the back foot, right? On the defensive, in relation to how are you going to express something that you need to be very honest about.
Mm-hmm.
And in that realm, you're already cutting off your reasons and your meanings from your communication, simply because you're premeditating and you're anticipating something.
Well, I don't know. I think it depends on your level of, not level, but your perception. Like for me, from my perception, just say we're not, because of we as humans on this earth realm. So we have resistance, right? Because of things that are going on. What we think about what happened last week, or what's getting ready to happen, or I need to prepare for this, or like our mind is like constantly going, right? So we're not always in the receptive mode. So I'm thinking from that term, like just keeping that in mind. So just say, for instance, I had a gift that I wanted to give someone the other day. And I had to feel the person, I had to feel their energy to see if they were in a receptive mode. And they were not at that time, because they were engaged in TV. They were like all in with this program there. So that to me, that wasn't a good time to communicate that I had a gift for them. So I decided to wait to give them a gift
Then
later when they
let
were
me ask.
present.
Let me ask you the question.
Yes.
Why did you stop yourself from giving the gift at that point?
The reason is because they were fully engaged with watching TV, and I didn't want to break their engagement. I didn't want to break their focus on what they were doing. I didn't want to. I wanted
All
to
right.
them to be able to receive it as well. To fully receive.
So listen to your thinking. Listen to your
Yes.
thinking. You're thinking on their behalf, but you didn't even pay any mind or consideration to you. So if I were to have said that and said, oh, I was so excited to want to give them a gift, but they were not ready to receive my excitement, I then stopped myself from giving it to them because I didn't want to throw that very, that feeling, that excitement that I had for wanting to give a gift. I didn't want that to be destroyed if they didn't respond properly to me.
Right, you're right. That is what I thought.
So here's the point. But here's the point. So why don't you say that? You simply highlighting.
I guess I can communicate that. I guess I couldn't. I wasn't able to communicate that just then.
Right, but yes, all right. So the question is why? And if you look at the different levels to communication, and I'm going to take you into the chakras again in relation to energy, all the different energy zones from mind through the subconscious, and also you go heart, emotions, feelings, instinct, intuition, depending on where it is you're thinking from will determine your reason. So you were thinking on their behalf, thinking conscious mind. I was thinking deep in the feelings pertaining to me. You didn't even pay yourself any consideration in regards to that.
I see what you're saying. All
so
right.
if that's the case, then how could you be engaging at a deeper level if you're stopping yourself from engaging at a deep level?
Well, to me, I don't know. See, I'm outside. I can't see outside of myself, so I can just.
No, exactly.
And here's the other thing.
You cannot see inside of yourself.
I can see inside myself, right?
No, you're not seeing inside of yourself.
I don't see how I'm not.
Well, yeah, but hold on. From what you're saying, you're seeing outside, and you're interpreting them, but you're not interpreting you, and that's very normal because communication. We have learned to communicate in the second, third, and fourth person, and rarely do we communicate in the first person. It's easier for you to tell me about the person you wanted to give the gift to, as opposed to telling me about you in relation to the gift. Why?
Well, I
because
do.
all our lives, yes.
Oh, go ahead. I don't want to cut you off. All our lives.
No, because all our lives we've learned how to communicate by hearsay, by storytelling, by listening in the third person, as opposed to communicating directly what I'm saying to you and what you are directly wanting to say to me.
Okay, so here's the other.
And it's the most. Yes.
I'm sorry. Here's the other thing. The other thing is intuition. Like, you have to know when to, because there is a time and a place to communicate. Would you agree with that? I mean, to me, that wasn't the right time. And so intuition,
I agree, but
I was following my intuition and say, okay, maybe another time. So I waited till like another time.
Were you really following intuition? Or were you following your feelings? Intuition is it's a natural response,
both.
And we'll talk about
both.
Intuition in relation to. There's some terms I'm going to throw at you. We'll talk about the law of attraction. We'll talk about emotional intelligence, and a new one I'm going to throw at you: alchemy, transmutation.
Wow.
What that means in relation to intuition. And how you put this whole puzzle together in relation to who you are and how to express you in a manner that makes it enjoyable to engage you. And if you cannot bring that directly into your true self, into your soul, we'll never engage and communicate properly.
Okay, I get it. So, do you want to expound more on the forms of communication, or do you want to go to how can we improve our communication skills?
You take me there. Take me on the journey.
Okay, how can we improve our communication skills?
Communication is based on trust, trusting yourself and allowing someone else the freedom to say exactly what they want to say, but also rarely does that happen. And for two people to be honest in communication, in wanting to engage each other honestly, enjoyably, and also where in the context of iron sharpening iron,
yes,
that in itself that's the end result of communication. But to get there, it takes trust, incredible trust, to open yourself up, to listen to someone's emphatic words speaking directly to you and of you. And if you cannot allow for that, you'll never experience the beauty of open and honest communication.
That is amazing. So why is it that, do you find that most people are fearful to go there? Like they are fearful
Why do you think,
to trust?
Let me answer it with a question. Why do you think most marriages fall apart?
It is communication, there's no doubt.
Yes.
It's a lack of communication.
The primary reason, the lack of connection as a result of communication.
Mm-hmm. So what's the difference between communication and connection?
What's the difference between communication, connection, and talking? Talking is blah, 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 talking head syndrome, where I'm talking and I'm blowing your head down.
Right.
Communication.
Not even present, just blabbing out the mouth, right?
Yes. Communication with your energy. So communication, you can communicate without any energy. Add your energy to what you expressing. The energy is what creates the connection if someone receives your energy attached to your words that you're communicating.
Yes.
If there's no energy, it's simply words and you hitting the head.
Right. Okay, so we got that. So what about energy?
So let's try that. Do you want to try it quickly?
Yes.
Katina?
Yes.
I'd like to tell you something. I need to tell you something. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I cannot tell this to anyone but you because I do feel you're the only person who can receive me.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Absolutely.
You know, this morning I played tennis and I played a shot, a one-handed backhand shot that was so incredible that when I saw myself at an out-of-body experience, seeing myself play that shot, I nearly wanted to faint based on how great I thought I was, but I couldn't express that to any of the persons on court with me or even those watching, because they would have thought I might have been bragging.
Right. They would have received it wrong.
Did you feel my energy?
Yes.
Did you connect with my energy?
Yes.
Now respond to the energy that I imparted to you.
I think that's really awesome. I think that's awesome.
And that's the art of communication, your energy that you're imparting, not the words.
Got it. Perfect. So what else? How else can we improve? What about listening?
How else?
Yeah, what about
listening? Listening how?
Like being a good listener when someone is speaking with you, because like a lot of people, most people have ADHD.
What makes someone a good listener? Do you know? If not, I'll tell you.
You tell me.
You know you can listen. Do you know you can listen through all your energy zones?
Mm. Okay. Teach
Do you
me.
know that do you know the deepest form of listening is listening with your feelings?
Okay.
Even listening with your intuition and your instinct and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
You can listen with all your energy zones if you can separate out those faculties.
Wow. That's deep.
So it depends on your ability to listen. And that's why one almost has to be very careful with asking a question, because you can determine how shallow
Yes.
one's
A
one
person
is
is.
engaging by just the depth of the question or the degree of how the question is engaged. And you can determine all of that in tone, in combination of words, in meanings, and what they're asking. If it's simply a monosyllable, non-deep
Right.
question, you
Right.
know,
Yeah, you can totally tell. And their body language too.
and the body language, and if it's just words. And I'm at the point, if someone asks me a question, I just exclude myself.
Mm-hmm. So that you can be fully present, right?
Yes, in fully present and engaging yourself in your reality, and not in the context of not wasting any of your energy and respecting your energy.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Okay. Can we talk about body language for a little bit? What is your
You can
take?
talk about what you want. You can talk about what you want to.
Let's talk about that. Like what's your take on that's another good way to communicate is
Body language is elementary to read. It's a
oh,
mental, how you mentally sort of what you see sort of in someone's body language, and you can go and study that, in terms of looking at clusters of you're responding by virtue of your body language, the smile, the lips sort of curling or quivering with clasping of a hand in when an expression's made, and you look at the combination of all of that to truly determine if someone's meaning what they're saying, which is a basis that everyone talks about, and particularly in relationship settings, or when a young man is wanting to court a woman,
yes.
or a young lady. But in my mind, body language is elementary to read. I think the deepest form of to read in relation to reading of self is reading one's energy, because energy cannot lie. Body language you can fake.
Okay. That's true. But
Energy,
how do you
energy doesn't lie.
since you're brand new at this, how does somebody read energy? How do you do that or feel energy?
You have to your feelings have to be so awake and alive to be able to almost mirror someone's energy, and your body will respond to what's not true. So it's a fascinating dance that's created in reading or mirroring someone, almost controlling their energy by engaging it.
That is amazing. That's cool. Let's talk about mirroring. What's your take on that?
Mirroring is a basis for controlling. So I play a lot of sport, and I'm
Uh-huh.
self-taught at it. And the basis to any sport is control, not wanting to win, because you want the game to naturally
Mm-hmm.
come to you.
Mm-hmm.
So at tennis, for instance, tennis is one of the most beautiful games. Any sports, anything you express yourself in can be beautifully done, if you have control, and control happens in your body by transferring body weight. To use that same control in playing with someone, you want to almost mirror their rhythms and the flow of the ball, and you want your action to be just a touch below their action, and that's where the control happens. So someone plays a power shot, you don't want to be playing a shot beyond that, because then they are, obviously you're reacting as opposed to you being in control. And so the control mechanism is simply, even listen to this, say something.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Did you hear that?
Yeah,
Did you hear that?
Yes.
And my tone is even going below yours. A hair below yours.
Mm-hmm.
Going lower. Going
Why?
lower. Going lower. Why? Because it's just I don't want to be shouting ahead of you.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to
get
be
it. Oh.
I don't want to be superimposing myself onto you, and you just want to create. That's how you create a dance. And that's what happens in sport as well, even in communication. Oh, did you like that expression I just made?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. And you went, oh. Right.
That's awesome.
And so I could respond to you, oh, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
I made you go, oh, I must be quite incredible to have you respond like that to me. I could be thinking that, right?
Yes.
And so if I'm brave enough, I could be engaging that, saying, Katina, so tell me, what made you go, oh, like that?
Because I had an aha moment.
and what was that?
You're teaching me about mirroring. You're teaching me that to never try to trump somebody with whether you're playing a sport or in a conversation. Like,
yes,
because that can lead to an argument, couldn't it? Like if someone is saying their tone or they're speaking, they're saying, and then you go higher, it becomes a competition, right? So if you go the other way, then it stays civil and it keeps its flow.
You're flowing.
Yeah.
You're flowing.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So let me ask you, why are you afraid to lower your tone?
Oh, I'm not afraid. I do that. By nature, I have a lower tone by nature. I don't, I'm not into yelling or trying to talk over anybody ever. Now, if I get excited, that's a different story. Like if you say something and it excites me, that's different. But I guess I'm mirroring, without even realizing it.
Depending on how you creating the ebb and the flow of that. Yes.
Okay.
And it simply is confidence, allowing yourself to be confident to be you, to express you your way.
That's awesome.
Whatever you want to say, how you want to say it, and not demanding a response, and without imposing yourself, and just being you in the moment.
Okay, that's wonderful.
And that's the basis to communication.
I love it. Let's talk about emotional intelligence. What is that?
Oh, so I'm going to talk about a few subjects just in relation to that, in relation to you and what constitutes you and how you've been put together in relation to communication. Take a puzzle, for instance. A puzzle can be a beautiful thing if it's put together and you can appreciate the time it's taken and your thinking to have put it together. But if it hasn't been put together and it's all sitting out there, you're never going to see the true beauty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that pertains to you as well in relation to your inner world. There's so many facets to you that you've never put together. And all that does is stops you from bringing out your true person. The Bible talks about gouge at an eye, the entire body suffers, or cut off a little finger, the entire body suffers, correct?
Okay, yes.
Or stub your toe. Just go and stub your toe. Do me a favor. Stub your toe very hard against the chair in your room there. And no.
No, I'm not going to do that.
I know, because it's going to be very painful, and you're going to be, your entire body's going to struggle, even to the point by by hobbling on the one foot, it's going to throw your left hip out by favoring that toe, correct?
I don't even want to think about it.
I'm just saying, but are you following? Are you following me?
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Right. So imagine your inner world. If you're shutting down your feelings, or if you don't engage your intuition or your instinct, or if you don't engage your thinking properly, what are you doing to the energy, your energy that's supposed to flow through you?
That's shutting down one's energy. That's not good.
You're shutting it down.
Yeah, it's not cool.
Right. Right. And and that energy is what alters your thinking, and even your thinking processes gets altered as a result of that. That you and I can think about something, and we can have two totally different thoughts about something, right?
Right.
So there are things that constitute you. There are sayings out there about the law of attraction and conscious mind and emotional intelligence and the chakras, and something I've recently researched, but it makes perfect sense, called alchemy transmutation. And alchemy transmutation simply refers to your energy in its raw state transmutating or changing into its purest form, but the energy in your soul realm. Because it's in your soul that your magic happens, but it's also in that soul realm where emotional intelligence exists. That with conscious mind and emotional intelligence to conscious mind, you're creating the area that engages the law of attraction in the subconscious, right? Because you're putting your energy to that. And this even goes further in relation to faith, where the basis to faith is your energy to your conscious mind, which really forms the basis to faith, that when you speak it, you speak your reality into existence. Take it even further, where as you think, you'll attract, and you'll attract according to your thinking, which creates the whole basis to the law of attraction.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay? So that's one aspect to you are, but put all of that together, including your energy, whether it's energy to your thinking, the power of your thinking, the power of the energy to your senses, what you see and what I see could be two totally different things. What you hear and I hear could be totally different things based on how we've fine-tuned or refined our senses, correct?
Yes.
And if you never practice your senses, or let's say your taste buds, if you abuse your taste buds, after a while, I'm going to be enjoying the taste of something and you are not, because your taste buds have all been spoiled and soiled and diluted in a sense, and you can lose the freshness and the beauty of engaging your taste buds, right?
Wow.
So that's even an energy regarding your senses, and so all of that constitutes sort of filters into your, like when you eat something in German, all of that filters into your lower inner, into your feelings and your emotions, and all of this constitutes your makeup. But how often, how rarely do we even engage all of us, as opposed to just a fraction? The beauty of someone playing a tennis shot, where the shot happens in the feet, beautiful footwork, almost flowing and gliding to the bent knee in the setup and the stance, and watching that ball flow with a beautiful action that creates the work of art and the mastery.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Right? And so if you cannot appreciate that because you don't know how to look at something, a horse galloping, or a leaf falling from a tree, just seeing it sort of flowing down there, but we don't even see the beauty of these things because we haven't educated we haven't refreshed the things that we want, and the beauty to what we're wanting is right in front of us, but rarely engaging it.
Right.
So the problem with aging is we're shutting all of these inner mechanics down, and by the time we're 50 and 60, we're almost brain dead, just waiting to die.
Wow,
physically
for the
die.
average person,
Because, you know,
unless you
well,
unless you know this stuff, right? Unless you're
unless you
mindful.
unless you un, unless you unravel, and Buddhism and the Bible talks about the zeal of your first love, going back
Yeah.
to those first impressions, those first energies, those first responses. It's virtually impossible to do because we're on this roller coaster going, tightly wound minds and mental energies that's so drawing us into what's to come that we never can engage what is in our moment. So people either live in the past
Yeah.
or they're in the future about what's to come, what you're going to do next week, and rarely do we live in the present moment.
So the key is to
And
be
it's the
present, is mindful thinking, would you say?
in everything, yes,
In everything.
absolutely everything,
Always being present in the moment. In being present in
yes.
the moment, it takes away a lot of stress too.
Oh, yes. And here's what the beauty of the moment does. You engage the moment in its full complexity as you have to. It actually becomes the platform or the foundation to the future,
Wow, that's
as
beautiful.
opposed to as opposed to yearning for what's to come.
Yeah.
Create what's to come, and that is when you're ready. That's when the law of attraction engages. When you're ready, and this is the whole basis to faith. When you're ready in your person to receive what
Hmm.
you desire, it will be released to you in due time, and you'll attract it when you're ready for it.
Absolutely.
However, you can go and demand this one and go and make it happen, and you'll never grow into the person you are, because you're not nurturing the characteristics to attract it.
That's beautifully said. I love that. So, how do we begin? We're winding down here. How do we begin to become better communicators? Where do we start?
You asked the question early on, and the basis to becoming a better communicator is to enjoy listening.
Hmm. That's beautiful.
But not just listening with our heads, listening so deeply, shutting our minds down, and listening emphatically to what someone's saying and receiving it,
Yeah,
and receiving them as is.
beautiful.
Then you respond out of what it is you've received. You
Mm.
respond without judgment,
Yes,
um, without redirecting what the person said, and you just respond out of the purity and the beauty of who you are, so that that person can receive you. But you have to be a great listener to be able to do so.
that's awesome. Really awesome. Thank you so much, Malcolm. Thank you for sharing all that wonderful information with us today. And thank you for being a guest on Awakening with Katina Love. It's been a pleasure once again. Is there any last thoughts any that you wanted to share?
No, but I didn't prepare to go this deeply. I think you're an incredible host in taking me on all these journeys. That of the last time you said higher consciousness. It's just incredible your ability to engage it, and I need to thank you for the experience.
Well, thank you. Thank you once again. Thank you so much for tuning in to Awakening with Katina Love and our guest, Malcolm Hendricks. Thank you. Namaste.